Welcome to Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League. We are located at the Utah Motorsport campus, offering a full range of services for race car enthusiasts, including storage, maintenance, and driver coaching. Our focus is on fostering an inclusive and supportive racing community. Sim racing is a great way for our drivers to continue to practice during the on and off season. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the race.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to race number 5 of the 7th season of the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League. This race, we are at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That's right, we are at Road America, a classic American racetrack. What we are seeing right now is the formation lap for the 15-minute sprint race. What you've missed so far is the 1-hour practice session that also serves as the qualifying session for this sprint race. Jack Liston qualified on pole position with a 2-minute and 4-second .407, just barely edging out Paolo, who qualified with a 2:04.702. Very, very tight field. There are 14 drivers in this race. A lot of the people that you're used to if you've tuned into the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League in prior seasons or prior races, and a couple of notable people that did not join this race, unfortunately. So we are going to see how many points the people that are in this race can haul from those that were unable to attend. A lot of really, really talented drivers in this field, including Michael Shumway, who qualified in P3, Miller, who qualified in P4. He was the highest qualifying R2 driver. And John Wilson, also in P5. John Wilson, qualifying in P5, seems a little bit out of place for him. He's won multiple races so far this season. He is incredibly talented, and he's shown it over and over again, so I would expect that he would be able to do a lot of damage to the rest of the field if he gets a good run and if he stays out of trouble. Now, for Season 7, there are some changes to the rules here at the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League, primarily that there is now a 15-minute sprint. It sets the reverse starting order for a 45-minute main race. So wherever you finish in this race after 15 minutes, it's just a quick shootout. The winner starts at the back of the field for the main event, and that just makes it even more exciting than it already is. You know, again, these races are always super, super electrifying. They're thrilling to watch. Very good drivers up and down the field, and beyond that, we have good respectful racing that happens. These guys don't get super rowdy. They'll be very, very aggressive with their racing, but they very seldom cross the line where you're like, okay, that was a bit much. They're all very respectful of one another. And one of the other things that is different in this season of the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League is that the damage is turned off. In iRacing, you have the option to turn the damage off, meaning if these cars stack into a wall or if anything happens to them, the car goes back to being perfect within a second or two. So how do they officiate the racing, you ask? Well, good question. If you go off track, if you make contact with another driver, you get incident points. Typically, it's 4 points for making contact with another driver and a single incident point for going off track. If you accumulate 17 points, you get a drive-through penalty. Furthermore, if there is any maneuvers, any driving that's deemed to be overly aggressive, then all the drivers have a meeting after the race, and they decide if penalty points need to be awarded. Safety car is off. We are about to go green in the sprint race. 15 minutes on the clock. And the green flag drops, and we are racing. Jack Liston is going to have the inside line going into turn 1. Is Paolo going to be able to get a run on him on the outside? We are through wide into the braking zone. Oh, look at that, John, up the middle. Everybody seems to have made it through. Awesome, awesome start to this race. Jack is retaining the lead. Paulo retains second. Michael and John are side by side going through the first series of corners. Oh, everything is so close. Oh, one driver off in the back. Looks like they're able to continue. And John slips past Michael Shumway into P3. Is Michael Shumway going to have an answer for him coming down into turn 5? Oh, that's Miller on the inside of John. Miller's on the inside. Oh, Miller runs wide. Michael tries to make a move around the inside. John stays in third place. Really, really great racing. And like I was saying before, this racing is so respectful. And that was a great example, right? Where there's a lot of stuff happening. They're 2 wide, they're 3 wide, but they're not just dooring each other into the oblivion. And, that is just amazingly fun to see. There's battles up and down the field right now. Really, really good stuff. And, we had a driver off right there. Who was that? Someone dropped down the field. That looked like Andrew Malin went off track. He's now... Ooh, there was an incident right there between Carter and Andrew Malin. See if we can... Let's see. Andrew's on the inside. Carter... is on his back wheel. It looks like Andrew might have gotten a little bit unsettled by that curb and ran... Yeah, I hate to say it. I think Andrew maybe just ran Carter a little bit wide. Carter had absolutely nowhere to go. Ended up in the back quarter panel of Andrew's car, and Andrew got spun around. Carter's off track. No one hit the wall. Both able to continue. Andrew is the one that's worse for wear out of that. He's going to be in the back of the field with a several-second gap. He's about 2.5 seconds behind the rest of the field, so he's going to have his work cut out for him. But silver lining, I'm generally a positive person. If he ends up finishing in the back of the field, that just means he's going to start in the front of the field for the main event. So we'll see if Andrew Malin is going to be able to climb his way back up into the field. Jack Liston is currently winning this race. He is leading by, let's see, do we have intervals yet? Let's see, he's leading by just about a second. Capallo, John started in 5th position. He is all the way up to 3rd. Miller in 4th. Michael Shumway down to 5th place. Shane is in 6th. Kelly in 7th. Mike Cowley is in 8th. And, let's see. Alex is making a dive down the inside. Oh, gosh. Alex and Logan coming together. Alex looks like he's got a little bit of connectivity issues. He's going to make it through on Logan. Might have been a little bit of contact there. I don't think it was that naughty. Both drivers able to continue. Alex is also the lone BMW in this field. He's driving the BMW M4 GT3 car. The thing is an absolute rocket ship. It has a ton of power. Oh no, someone got into the back of John. That was Miller in one of the 2 Lamborghinis in the field. Miller, he might not have even touched John. He just might have had to check up a little bit harder than he intended to under the brakes, and that forced him to spin around. The tires, we've been racing for a couple of minutes now. The tires are probably just coming up to temperature. Here's on board with Miller. Yep, looks like he just barely tagged John. It looks like the braking distances caught him out just a little bit. These are a fixed setup race, meaning that everyone that's driving a Porsche has the exact same setup, and everyone driving a Lamborghini has the exact same setup. And that's done to keep the competition as even as possible. But all the Porsches and all the Lamborghinis, they all handle slightly differently from one another, and they all, even though they're even in their lap times, they go about getting that lap time in different ways. So it could be a situation where John, in order to optimize that Porsche 911 GT3R, the 992, it might be a situation where he has to brake a little bit earlier than Miller does in the Lamborghini, and that might have caught Miller out just a little bit. So Miller finds himself back down in P13 because it already climbed up into P12. He's an incredibly fast driver and is currently winning the R2 class. We're just, we're about 3.5 minutes into this race. We've already seen a whole bunch of action. This is very exciting stuff, and you've heard me reference R1, R2, R3. What those are the races within the race. There are 3 different classes out on track. Everyone is in the exact same position. Everyone takes the exact same equipment, and everybody takes the same green flag and the same checkered flag. But there's 3 different classes, and the reason why they did that in Riot Motorsports is so that everybody feels like they could be racing for a win. There are certain people here that are absolute killers. Jack Liston's one of them. He's going to be at the front of every single race that he's in, barring some sort of incident. And there are other people that are still learning the craft. And those people that are learning are still able to fight for wins in the lower categories. So Miller is currently, I believe, leading the R2 championship and is, I think, right now Shane is John Wilson is the leading R2 driver. So there's an interesting thing about John Wilson. He's wicked fast, but he's new to the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League, and we don't want to start someone in the R1 class. So he started in R2, and he made it very apparent very quickly that he is very talented in a sim race car. So, oh, there's an incident. Oh, that was Mike and George coming together, and that was right at the end of the straightaway. George takes a dive down the inside. I don't think Mike saw him. Mike closes the door on him. He's got a wheel in. That's going to make them both spin out. Oh, that's a bummer. Hopefully Mike has his spotter turned on, and, the spotter said car on the inside. That's typically what you get in iRacing. That obviously was an unintentional move. There's no reason to take both people out of the race, and I don't think Mike was trying to shut the door that aggressively with still 2/3 race distance left. But it's a good thing that the damage is turned off. They're both able to just continue. They'll get their incident points added to the tally, but as long as they stay fairly clean for the rest of the race, it's not going to be a factor for them. I don't think they're going to be at risk of a drive-through penalty quite yet. That really comes into play more in the 45-minute main race when they have a whole lot of time out on track. Right now we're watching Alex Faust and Miller. Miller has already climbed his way back up to P9, and we'll see if he's able to make further inroads. Alex in that BMW GT3 M4. Whoop, gets a little bit oversteer. Exiting turn 6, heading up. Hurry downs, and right. Ooh, geez, there's Miller running a little bit right. Miller's running on the limit. In these Lamborghinis, again, all the different car makes have slightly different handling characteristics, and the Lamborghinis might be the quickest car on track, but they're also the hardest to handle. They when you step over the edge, it happens real quick, and you can get into a lot of trouble really quickly. Paolo has the fastest lap of this race so far with a... well, no, he doesn't. It says he has the fastest lap with a 2:05.4, but Jack Liston just put in a 2:04.9. So Jack is walking away from this one, and oh boy, we have 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in this race, and I am seeing rain fall from the sky, and Jack is going to dive immediately into pit lane to get wet tires. Wow, the weather is turning so quickly. You could see that it was foggy at the start of this race, and there was a chance of rain, and well, here it comes. We'll see who's going to decide to stay out and who's going to dive into pit lane along with Jack Liston. Let's see who else is diving in. Paolo dove into the pits. Shane has dove into the pits. So we have already some drivers that are immediately switching over to the wet tires, and looks like a lot of people are choosing to stay out for another lap and try to take advantage of that delta. It's basically an overcut, and when it rains, you can still extract a decent amount of lap time out of the slick tires when there's some moisture on the racetrack. But when it turns that corner to being full wet, you are absolutely taking your life in your hands if you're on racing slicks when the track is too wet. I mean, we are talking a delta of tens of seconds, not tenths of seconds. So if they stay out just a little bit too long, they are going to have their hands full the entire way around this lap. And you can see we're on board right now with Michael Shumway. Michael is still on the slick tires, is still actually extracting a decent amount of time. So the pavement is still absorbing that water. It's when the volume of water falling on the track surface surpasses the track surface's ability to absorb it. And you basically get standing water, and that's what makes these slick tires almost impossible. But great turn in from there. Michael's still getting a decent amount of grip as we see him go through the kink, down through kettle bottoms. And John is in P1. He's staying out that extra lap. You can start seeing the spray coming up on from the tires as he comes around. Let's see, what's that, Canada corner, and making his way towards final turn before heading on to the main straightaway. And I'm going to guess he's going to dip into pit lane. Oh, no! Oh, John loses it. Keep it together, John. Oh, no! Turns it just to 90. Michael Shumway is going to squirt through into the lead. Is Michael going to dive into the pits? Yes, he is. John is going to dive in. No, John's going to stay out. What is John doing? Oh, that is a very aggressive move from John Wilson. He is betting on himself, and he is betting that this track surface is going to be able to absorb all that rain that's falling down. This is a very, very interesting move from John. Oh, Spencer's going to stay out as well in the Taco Bell livery. So a couple of drivers don't think that it's wet enough to warrant going on to racing slicks. And you can see Spencer is understeering all the way around turn 1. The track conditions are deteriorating, and John Wilson and Spencer Proud. Oh, there it goes. Spencer's running wide. We absolutely have reached that turnover point, that crossover point, where the wet tires are the better choice. What is John Wilson going to be able to do? Even if he survives this next lap, he's not going to be able to extract the same grip levels as everybody that's on rain tires. This is a super interesting move for John Wilson. The delta on this lap is going to be massive. The people that are on rain tires are going to be able to chew into that lead significantly. So, keep it together, John. Woo-hoo-hoo. Really good driving from John. That's excellent car control right there. We know John's super fast. Apparently, he's got super fast hands as well. We just saw that right there. Oh, keep it together, John. You got it, buddy. You got it. Oh, you can see him just managing little bits understeer, little bits oversteer. Watch his hands right here. We're in car with John Wilson. What a good driver he is. Look how quiet his inputs are on the steering wheel. Whoa, keep it together, John. Oh, wow. Holy cow. If anyone has ever wondered exactly how fast... Oh, John! Oh, no, coming into the kick. Oh, he saves it. Holy cow. John, thank you for putting on a show. You are making this such an entertaining race. Look at that. Tank slapper left, right, left, and then all the way opposite lock. Drifting out into the dirt, somehow keeps it off the wall, somehow keeps it pointing in the right direction, somehow keeps moving at a quick pace. This is a clinic that John is putting on right now. It's not the quickest way around the track, but it's definitely entertaining. So thank you very much, John Wilson. Just a few more corners left, buddy, and then you'll be able to come into the pits and get onto slicks. And it looks like the rain is letting up. The sunshine's coming out. Is John going to try to just maintain that lead? He's got 9.6 seconds on Spencer. There's 4 minutes left in this race. Is John going to try to be an absolute hero? He is. I don't believe it. Oh, John, you legend. You absolute legend. This is spectacularly captivating stuff that we're seeing right now. John Wilson has decided to stay on racing slicks with no tread whatsoever, no ability to displace water. He is skating around on the thinnest layer of water. You can see right there, he's oversteering at the exit of every corner. He's going to be understeering into the entrance of every corner. And he's still on the traditional racing line, which, when it gets wet like this, the traditional racing line has a lot of rubber deposited on the track. And when it's dry, that means that you have a lot of grip because it's rubber gripping on grip. So it's a grippy thing on a grippy thing, and that makes for lateral grip in the corners. But that rubber also waterproofs that part of the track, and the water can't seep in. John! Oh, no! A big moment for John. He's not saving this one. He's backing into the wall. Oh, no. John, that is his 10-second lead gone down to, just about nothing. Does he still have an 8? Well, he's still got a decent lead. Holy cow. John is doing an amazing job here. Even with that slip-up, he didn't lose his share of the lead. This is really interesting stuff. Wow. I mean, John is putting on a clinic right here. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. He's not, if he hasn't come in the past 3 laps for rain tires, he's not going to do it for the last 2. There's just, oh, Alex! Did he just take Jack Liston out of the race? Oh, yes, he did. Oh, that was not the smartest thing. I'm not sure why Alex was reversing so far all the way across the track. No wonder Jack didn't see him. There's nothing you can do. There's no way you would expect a driver to be reversing all the way across the track between turns 5 and 6. Nowhere for Jack to go other than into the rear end of Alex Faust's BMW M4 GT3. Ooh, that might... Yeah, the drivers might have an opinion on that when they discuss potential penalties. And look at that whole field of cars. There's going to be 3 cars that are going to pass Jack. Ooh, that's not good. Oh. Is that a replay? Nope, that's Alex losing it again. Alex, I think, stayed on... Yeah, he stayed on slicks. So, we're definitely seeing a difference between the slick tires and the wet tires. Ooh, Paolo gets a little bit of oversteer as well. Oh, what an exciting sprint race so far. I mean, it started dry. It's now raining. John Wilson is proving time and time again how talented he is by staying out on slicks and staying in the lead. But this is a great battle right here between Paolo and Michael. The rain's coming down like crazy. Oh! What is that? Is that Jack coming? That was Jack coming through on Michael. So Jack found a little bit of extra motivation, I would think, after getting collected by Alex. He's a man on a mission right now with 1 minute and 15 seconds left as they come through Kettle Bottoms, down Canada Corner. This is a very tricky corner in the dry, and it's very tricky in the wet as well. It's a hard braking zone. If you get it wrong by just a little bit, you are going to find the wall. So this is very, very exciting in the closing stages of the sprint race here at Road America. This, I believe we'll see two more laps after this, I'm going to guess. I think we'll see the white flag the next lap is what I'm going to guess. The time to race, and usually what happens is once the time, you get the white flag once the time winds down to 0. And just as I'm saying that, I'm completely wrong because the white flag is flying. 1 lap left to go, 35 seconds left, but it is going to be all John Wilson's race to lose or win. Oh, and Paolo on wet tires has so much grip and finally catches John Wilson to make the pass. John had an absolutely heroic. Keep it together, John. Oh, John's about to get eaten alive by every driver behind him, dropping down the field because John is on slicks and everyone else is on the rain tires. And that crossover point happened a couple of laps ago, and John, stayed out and wanted to put on a car control clinic, which he did. However, the levels of grip between his car and all the others is just too big of a difference. John is going to have to tiptoe his way around this last lap. He had a commanding lead, decided to stay out, now finds himself in P4. I would imagine he may lose another spot or two before this lap is done. Andrew Malin and Carter are, let's see, they're having a good battle right now as they come through turn 6, and they're going to head up towards turn 8 and then around the big carousel. This has been really good stuff. Andrew is alongside Carter. Is Andrew going to be able to get a pass done? Is Carter going to give him space? No, he's not. Carter is going to take the long way around and keep his momentum up. Oh, and John is going to be the cork in that bottle. Oh, no, and Andrew and Carter come together. Oh, Carter is able to keep it going, but not before Andrew gets into the back of Carter. I wonder if Carter had to check up because John was coming across the track. You can see Carter moves across in front of Andrew because John is there. And Andrew is going to make contact. Ooh, yep. He's going to turn Carter. So that's another thing that I think the drivers might want to take a look at after the race, see if there's any penalties that need to be awarded. That looked like it might have been avoidable contact. I mean, obviously, unintentional to turn someone around. That's not the type of racer that Andrew is. But could he have checked up right there? Obviously, it's the last race. This is when you're going to be the most aggressive. But that is going to keep Carter behind John Wilson. I don't know that John's going to be able to keep Carter back behind him for the remainder of the lap. There's just a couple of corners left for Paolo, who's in the lead. Paolo also has the fastest lap on track with 2:05.4. Set that, obviously, before it started raining. And there it is, Paolo in the Ferrari 296 GT3 car with the Riot livery. He's he's the only driver in the field with a Ferrari. And he is going to cross the line in P1 in the sprint race. Good job, Paolo. Followed by Jack Liston, good recovery drive for him. Followed by Michael Shumway in P3. Good to see him back up into the podium places. Shane in P4. There's Andrew Malin is going to... Oh, he got around Carter as well. Or, I'm sorry, he got around Kelly as well. So Andrew Malin's going to take P5. Kelly P6. Carter P7. John Wilson, the absolute hero, the only driver on racing slicks, comes in P8. And then we have Spencer in 9th, George in 10th, Logan in 11th. Mike is just coming across the start-finish line right now in P12. And then Alex, let's see. Alex is still on track, but he's a ways back. And Miller is in pit lane. So the rain that fell at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, halfway through this sprint race, turned everything on its head. Paolo came away with the win. John Wilson decided to stay out in the rain. Oh, Alex, keep it together, bud. Keep it off the wall. Woo-hoo. All right, good job. Alex coming around the kink. He was the last driver out on track. He had a rough race. He ended up spinning it around and then reversing on track, coming all the way across and collecting another driver. And now he's going to make his way through Canada Corner. Keeps it on track. Heading around Kettle Bottoms. I'm sorry, he's already done Kettle Bottoms. Heading around turns 13, 13A. Also known Bill Mitchell Bend. And then he's going to have one more 90-degree turn. Oh, come on, Alex. You got it. You got it, bud. There you go. Keeping it off the wall. Doing a little bit of rallycross. He is going to rejoin the start-finish straightaway and eventually cross the start-finish line in P13. And I believe that will conclude the 15-minute sprint race. So the drivers are going to collect themselves. They're going to have a little bit of a breath to reassess the situation, and then we are going to start the 45-minute main event at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It's round 5 of the 12-round series of the at the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League. This is season 7, and it's been such a good season. If you haven't been tuning in, definitely go back, watch the races. A lot of really exciting stuff. A lot of drivers as well. You know, we have our biggest field so far this year, I believe, has been 17 drivers, but we've had a total of maybe 22, 23 that have joined. And I believe we might be having some more drivers joining the league mid-season. I've talked to a couple of people that are very, very interested in it and are very good, talented drivers. So, as I said before, the finishing order of the sprint race sets the reverse grid for the main event. So Paolo, having completed the race distance in the shortest amount of time, gets awarded with 30 points for the sprint race and a back row start for the main event. Jack Liston came in P2. He's going to be rounding out the back row with Paolo. But Alex Faust is going to be leading this group off of... Oh, no, Miller. I'm sorry. Miller is going to be leading this group from P1. So this is really interesting because Miller obviously didn't have a good sprint race. He has no points to show for it. Ended up finishing in pit lane. But he's a very quick driver. He's winning the R2 championship right now, and he's starting in the front row. So it's sort of, again, a mixed bag. Obviously, you want to do well in all the races. You want to collect all the points you can. But if you're not going to collect points, you are going to definitely want to, start at the front of the main event. And I'm noticing as well, Alex Faust in the BMW M4 GT3 car was in P13, so he should be starting on the front row, but he's not there. So he's missing the start. I don't know if he's having connectivity issues. I don't know what's going on, but he's going to miss a start. That's unfortunate for Alex. The other thing to think about with this start is it was raining. You can see the track is still wet, but it looks like the sun is coming out. So is this rain going to continue? Are any of the drivers going to gamble on slick tires? John did it in the sprint race. It was very entertaining, but ultimately he ended up losing that gamble. He was able to stay in front of everyone for a few laps, but ultimately the pace of the wets just was way too fast for John Wilson on the slick tires. So I don't know if anyone's made that decision. It looks like everybody might be on wet tires. I don't see anyone slipping and sliding around. Let's see, going through the field right here. Is Michael? Michael's going slow. I wonder if Paolo's behind Michael. I wonder if Michael's on slick tires. He might have taken a risk. No, maybe not. It's hard to tell. Michael, it's good to see him have a P3 result in the sprint race. You know, he's someone who generally I would categorize as one of... Uh-oh. Yeah, he had an oversteer moment. Michael's on slicks. Okay, so Michael's on slicks. Paolo might be on slicks as well. I don't know if Paolo's staying behind Michael because he needs to keep the running order on the formation lap, or if he's also struggling to just keep pace with the pace car. This is really interesting stuff. As I was saying, Michael is one of the more consistent drivers on the field. Any single race, you know, he's capable of a podium. And he's had a rough season so far. He's had connectivity issues. You know, there's just sort of circumstantial things that have kept him from a lot of podium finishes that I think normally, you know, he would be in contention for. So it was good to see him finish in third in the sprint race. Hopefully he can make his way up the field and get a good result here at Road America in the rain. Oh, we're on the formation lap right now, and I got to tell you, this is really exciting stuff. This racing is always so fun to watch and for me to announce, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much, Riot Motorsport. But it's even more fun in the rain. You know, the first lap, when everyone is all bunched together, is just so exciting. And anyone that has any level of racing experience knows exactly how different a racing surface is in the rain. You actually have to drive a different line. You have to stay off the rubbery part of the track, which is the traditional racing line. You know, you find grip in really weird places. And the other thing that I always find very interesting is that oh, Michael's off in the background. Uh-oh. Oh, no, Michael is off on the formation lap. He's on slicks. Let's see. We're going to go back here. We're going to see. Oh, yeah, Michael's way off track. Going through turn 14. Ooh, he's... we'll see if he decides to come into the pits and swap tires out at the start of the race. Yeah, you can see right there, he gets a big push of understeer. His car is just not responding. He's on racing slicks in wet conditions, which is the least ideal. But the race pace car is off, and we are about to go green flag racing at Road America in the wet. And Miller gets a phenomenal jump on the field. There's 2 and 3 wide in the background. You can see the visibility is so poor for everyone in that mid pack, but Miller is able to absolutely walk away. He's got 5 car lengths on the rest of the field. And is everyone going to make it through? Oh, Spencer is going to get absolutely speared and then come across the track, and he's going to collect, I believe that was... Oh, yeah, here's a replay. So he runs wide, hooks the car across the track into the wall. That spears him back across the other way, and he is going to collect Kelly Hatcher. Oh, no, Andrew Malin is going to get into Kelly. That's going to spear Kelly off towards Spencer. So a first lap incident, not that surprising. You hate to see it happen, but we're very... Oh, no! Spencer comes on track just to collect Alex Faust, who had started at the back of the field. Rough start for those few drivers. But again, me being the consummate optimist, if you're going to have an awful incident, you better do it in the beginning of the race so you have the full 45 minutes to try to make up for lost ground. All the drivers were able to continue without major incident. Again, the damage is turned off in the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League, so they don't have to, worry about going into the pits and waiting all that time for damages to be repaired and then going out on track, and then the race is functionally completely over for them at that point. This allows them to stay competitive. We see Michael Shumway coming out of the pits now on rain tires. He started the race on slicks. Looks like he was maybe trying to take a gamble and planning on the sun staying out and the track drying up quickly, but that is not going to happen. So Michael is now in P14. Hopefully he can make his way back up to the rest of the pack and make some passes, gain some ground. As I say that, John Wilson is trying to gain some ground and make a pass on George right now. George is in the Flying Lizard throwback livery. Love seeing that car. Oh, Miller spins out of the lead. Miller in the carousel loses it. Oh, no. It is hard to get these tires up to temperature, and Miller, who had such a... Oh, and a sympathy spin from Alex Faust. He's going to go pirouetting like a ballerina and is able to continue. Miller is going to turn his car around. Now Miller is going to be at the back of the field. It's going to be Miller, Spencer, who was involved in the incident, and then Michael Shumway is in the back of the field because he had to change tires. So, Miller, always a fast driver. But again, those Lamborghinis are very touchy. You don't want to be driving something that's... You have to drive on such a razor's edge in the rain. It's a huge challenge, and George is going to have a huge challenge to keep John Wilson behind him John gets a run out of him coming out of turn 14, has a very long straightaway here to get the pass done. And they're going to go side by side across the start-finish line. John is going to have the edge going into turn 1 on pace, but George is going to have the inside line. Is John going to be able to clear George? John might be able to clear George completely. No, it looks like George is coming back. Yes, John is able to clear George going into turn 1 and is going to assume the lead. John is such a fast driver, and he's so talented, and he's got great racecraft. And he dropped down to P8 for the sprint race, which means he started mid-pack, and he's already up into the front of the race, into the front of the field. And watching right now, Andrew Malin battle it out with Logan. Jack Liston is right behind Andrew. This is going to be a great three-way battle. Look how poor the visibility is. Even though it's not raining that hard, these cars kick up a huge amount of spray. And look at what Jack sees. How do you pick a braking point? It's like a dark art to drive in the rain. Oh, and they're side by side. Jack is around the inside of Logan Whatcott, is going to get the pass done. And Logan, is Logan he's going to come under attack from Paolo. So good stuff. A lot of passes being made already in this race. That's why they decided to do the reverse grid. So you have the fast drivers, theoretically, behind all the drivers that are maybe a little bit slower on pace. So everybody has to make passes. Nothing's going to come easy in the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League, and that's what we're seeing here at Road America. We've already seen a bunch of passes, bunch of drama. Paolo right there in the Ferrari 296 GT3 car is a very fast driver, and that Ferrari is one of the more drivable cars that you can select. You can select any of the GT3 cars. So you can select the Audi R8, there's the BMW M4, the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo, the Porsche 992 911 GT3 car, the Mercedes AMG. No one is in the Mercedes in this race right here. But, of all those cars, if you talk to the drivers, it's the Ferrari and the Porsche are really kind of the most drivable, the most balanced cars. So you see a lot of Porsches here, and Paolo is in the sole Ferrari in the field. And if it turns out that the Ferrari is just a little bit more planted in the rain, then Paolo might be in a very good position to finish very high up at the end of this race. We're just barely, not even 5 minutes into this race. There's already been so much drama. This is what I love about the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League. You always get stuff like this. People race hard, but they race respectfully. Everything that you see on track, all these incidents, it's drivers just getting caught out. You're never going to see someone just punt the other person off into another universe just because it's not the way they race here. And I think one of the reasons why, obviously, everyone's just kind of a good person. They all, enjoy racing with one another. But also a lot of these people race in real life, and that gives them a sense of mortality that I think maybe you don't get with some people that only spend their entire lives racing in sim. At the end of the day, in real life, if you crash, you can get hurt, and you're going to have to pay for it. There's literally money that has to come out of your bank account. That's not the case in sim racing, and it's good to see them all treat it as if it is a real-life race. And, oh, look at this. Oh, George got around John. Oh, George is making a race out of it. George Mendez passes John Wilson for the lead. Oh, this is getting spicy. John's going to try to switch him back, and he's going to dive to the outside, to the inside. He is going to hassle George everywhere he can. Coming towards the hard braking zone, George is going to go defensive, which I would too if you have someone like John behind you. John is just so wicked fast. Coming through the carousel, they're both in the Porsches, so they're going to have similar setups, similar grip levels, but who's going to be able to extract the most out of it? Jack Liston, also incredibly fast driver. He is currently winning the R1 championship for 4 races into the series. He's in P4. He's all over the back of Mike Cowley. Oh no! Jack oversteps just to keep it together. Yes! Yes! Oh, Jack, what an amazing save. He's going to lose 2 positions because of that. But that, full style points to Jack Liston for making that save right there. Right now we're on board with Paolo. Paolo in the Ferrari is going to try to go around the outside of Canada Corner on Andrew Malin, and they're going to go side by side. Andrew is not going to give it up that easily as they come through Kettle Bottoms. Andrew is going to stay in front of Paolo. This is good stuff. There's good racing all up and down the track. And Paolo hard on the brakes. Across the right-hander. Is he going to get a run on Andrew Malin down the start-finish straightaway? Is John Wilson going to be able to get a run on George down the start finish straightaway like he did to take the lead just 2 laps ago. 37 minutes and 45 seconds left in this race, and it has provided no shortage of excitement as John dips down the inside, taking the lead back. George is not able to give him the good old up and under. So John Wilson is back in the lead, and he's able to get the power down and keep it down and keep George behind him, but only by the smallest of margins. What a good camera angle here. You can see exactly how close George Mendez is to John. It looks like they are attached, but John is, John's able to pull a car length or two coming out of turn 5. So John is just enough breathing room where he's not going to have to defend against George. And if John can start to pull a little bit of a gap, then he'll be able to start putting in consistent laps, not have to worry about defending. So John is sitting pretty right now, as is George. There's a bit of a gap. There's 2.7 seconds back to P3, which is Mike, and then there's that whole gaggle of people behind Mike. You have Mike, you have Andrew, you have Paolo, you have Jack, you have Shane, all fast drivers. Oh, and Mike spins out. Mike loses it at turn 8 just before the carousel, and didn't get any help from anyone. Does he drop a wheel? Yeah, it looks like he just a little bit aggressive on his turn in to turn 8. Got a bit of oversteer, wasn't able to catch it. He's going to loop his way around, and that is going to promote Andrew Malin into the podium spots, into P3. But he has Paolo, Jack, and Shane all right behind him, and they are not going to allow Andrew to keep P3 without putting up a fight. As they come through the kink, you can see Jack's got his handfuls. Jack can't see anything. I don't know how drivers pick out braking points, pick out turn-in points, know where the apex is with such poor visibility. These guys it's like a magic trick to be able to do that. It's like Jedi mind tricks, just sort of knowing and feeling where on track they are, and they're doing it at pace. Just really, really good stuff. Really talented drivers. Like I said, a lot of these people do have real-life racing experience, and then they cross over into sim racing and are successful here. Jack Liston and Paolo and Shane. Ooh, Paolo, is he going to get a run on Shane in the AO Racing Rexy livery right now? No, it looks like Shane got good drive out of the corner. The draft is significant in these GT3 cars. It's not as significant as you'd find in, maybe NASCAR or something like that. But, the aerodynamic draft is absolutely a factor. Shane is able to keep Paolo behind him. Shane, really great entry into the corner. Looks like Paolo got a great drive out of the corner. Is Paolo going to take a stab at the Rexy liveried AO Racing car of Shane going... No, not into 3. He's going to have an opportunity down into the bottom of 5, but it looks like he's just a little bit far back. Shane is doing a great job of keeping very fast drivers behind him. And also, seeing here, Carter is joining the party as well. And there's Jack and Andrew. Great battle for P3. We're kind of 2x2. We have John and George up the street, and then a little bit of a gap down to Andrew and... Jack, and no, actually, as I'm saying that, Andrew and Jack are reeling in George, and John Wilson has pulled almost a 4-second gap. So John is off, and not off track. He's off in the distance, and George, Andrew, and Jack are, they're going to start battling it out very quickly. We're just barely 10 minutes into this 45-minute main event in the rain, and it has provided so much drama, and it's been great. There's John Wilson, who had a very dramatic sprint race, was in absolute dominating form for most of it. Everyone started to went to rain tires when it started to rain. John stayed out in the slicks, made a bad choice, and ended up finishing in P8. But that pace that he showed in the beginning of the sprint in the dry, he's showing it right now in the wet, pulling a 4-second gap on the rest of the field. But this is the battle to watch right here. This is Jack Liston and Andrew Malin battling it out as they come through. That was just around, that was around Canada Corner. And Jack dives down the inside. Oh, Jack takes a real big lunge down the inside. Is he going to get a good corner exit? Yes, he is. Is Andrew Malin going to be able to answer back? He is right on the tailpipe of Jack Liston. It's Porsche versus Porsche. It's Riot livery versus Riot livery. This is great stuff. Oh, Andrew's got a run on Jack. Is he going to go inside or outside? Inside or outside? He dives to the inside into the braking zone. And Jack is going to try to hang around the outside. Is he going to be able to do it? It looks like he is, and Andrew is going to give him room to do it. Very respectful racing for those two, and Jack is going to have the outside line for turn 3, but hangs around the outside. Oh, that was real brave from Jack, and Jack is now in P3, and Andrew might try to answer back right here, diving down as they go under the cheese bridge, diving down Moraine sweep towards turn 5. Jack takes a defensive line, and Andrew is going to stab down the inside, hard on the brakes. Jack goes back wide. Jack is going to try to switch back. Andrew, and Jack is going to get a run up towards turn 6. This is great stuff. They crest the hill under the Corvette bridge, hard on the brakes, hard 90-degree turn. And if Andrew doesn't get it done, if Jack doesn't get it done, then Andrew's going to have the inside line for turn 7, which is exactly what's going to happen. This is side-by-side racing in the rain at Road America for P3. For how many corners has this been going on for? This is great. Jack is, going to stay. Yes, he's going to stay ahead for more than one corner, something that we haven't seen from these two yet. As they go around the carousel, Andrew is going to hang it around the outside. He's not going to be able to go side-by-side. That is he going to be able to switch back and get a run down the inside towards the kink? He's going to try, and he's not going to be able to get it done. So Jack Liston, it only took him about 7 corners to do it, but he finally gets around Andrew Malin. That was an amazing battle between those two. Really, really, really good stuff. This is what I love seeing. This is what I love about racing, is moments exactly like that, where it's just dicey and respectful, and you know that both Jack and Andrew are just smiling in their cockpits right now. Oh, good stuff. And now they're going to have to try to reel in George, because that battle did create a little bit of separation between them and George. So George has a little bit of breathing space. They got 1 second interval between him and Jack Liston. So that battle has also let Shane and Paolo into the conversation for P3 or P2. I think P1 at this point, if you have to call it. I know we're only at 1/3 race distance, just barely 30 minutes into this race. John Wilson is absolutely in a commanding lead with 7.6 seconds over the rest of the field, but the battle for second is super spicy, and it looks like we're going to have 5 cars, 1/3 of the field all together battling for podium spots. This is exactly what you want to see, and I love when it gets punchy. I love when they're the gloves are off and they're just kind of on that brink of adhesion while they're trying to make passes. But again, they're not being goons out there, right? No one's an enforcer. They're just having fun, racing hard, and displaying the skill set that they have, which is ample. And I also want to give a shout out just to the liveries. I love the Flying Lizard, that throwback livery that George, that we see him in. And I love the Riot Motorsport livery. And it's worth mentioning that Riot Motorsport is a real racing team. They're based out of the Utah Motorsports campus. And you can go there and see a lot of these Porsches that you're seeing in the Sim Racing League, basically in real life. The Andrew Malin's livery, Jack Liston's livery that we're seeing right there is Jack going to start making a run on George. Looks like Jack Jack is caught up to George. Andrew is caught up to Jack. Jack is the meat in the sandwich right now. So he's going to have to decide when to attack, when to defend. It's very complicated when you have someone as quick as Andrew Malin in your rearview mirrors, and you have someone as talented as George in your sights ahead of you. And you can see, again, the visibility not great at all as they go through the kink and around kettle bottoms. And just good stuff. Another 3-way battle is brewing. 28 minutes and 45 seconds left in this race, and Jack makes a move on George. Jack takes P2. Is George going to be able to answer? That was such a slick move coming through Canada corner. Is Andrew now going to be able to make a move on George? George has done very well. And by the way, George, the last time it rained in a race in the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League, I believe was at Sebring, and George was like had a whole other level that he was able to find in the rain. And I'm curious to see if he's able to turn that on again in this race and really show how talented he is in wet weather conditions. Andrew Malin looks like he's getting a little bit of a run on him right here now. Is he going to make a dive down the inside? Yes, he is. Is he going to get side by side in the braking zone? No, he's not. Oh, and George doesn't make it easy on him. Gives him, shuts the door on him. But Andrew is absolutely ready and primed to try to make a pass. But he's got to keep an eye on Shane behind him. Shane in the AO Racing Rexy livery is absolutely going to take advantage of Andrew if he makes a slip up, if he gets a bad exit out of a corner. And then behind him, you have Paolo as well, who's stalking the Rexy livery. And having a quiet race all the way up front is John Wilson. John Wilson is 7 seconds in front of the field, which is wildly impressive. Oh, there's a good battle right there. That's Spencer and Mike. Mike had a little off-track excursion earlier. He's trying to climb his way back. Spencer in the Taco Bell livery gets his way around Mike. Spencer finds himself in P11. So, as I was saying before, good battles all the way up and down the field, and there's 3 different race classes. Even though it's the exact same equipment and everyone gets assigned the exact same points, there's the race within the race. So these R2 and R3 drivers are battling for wins, even if they're down in P10, P11, and Mike is actually he's currently second in the R2 championship. So, those are important points for him right now. Andrew Malin. Oh, Shane got around Andrew. Wow, so Shane has officially entered this conversation. And Andrew's going to have to fight his way back against Shane Wilcox in the AO Racing Rexy livery. Love that livery, one of my favorites. And Andrew's going to take a dive down the inside of Canada corner, thinks better of it. Ooh. Is he going to? Yes, he is. Oh, gets a good exit out of Canada. Coming through Kettle Bottoms, finds his way around Shane. Good battle. And now Andrew has set his sights on George. Is he going to be able to take that spot back from George? We'll have to wait and see. Paolo has quietly been lurking in the background of this 5-car battle for the past several minutes. And I wouldn't sleep on Paolo. He's quick, he's in a quick car, and he's smart. So he could put himself in a position to be right up at the front by the end of this race. There's 25 minutes left in this race, and we have seen a ton of side-by-side action. We're about to see a lot more of it as Andrew Malin tries to go the long way around turn 1 against George, and Shane tries to stick his nose in. Ooh, so Shane and George are now side-by-side. That might give Andrew a little bit of breathing room. Nope, Shane backs out. George is going to file into P4 behind Andrew, and Shane in the AO Racing Rexy livery is stalking the Flying Lizard, and they are side by side coming down towards turn 5. George is going to have the inside line. Shane is going to be very brave on the brakes, hang it around the outside, get the pass done around the outside of turn 5 in the rain. George gets great drive out of the corner. He's head up towards Corvette Bridge. Oh, George is now on the inside. Did George just lose it? Oh, George just had a moment. He's able to keep it going, but he definitely had a snap of oversteer. Let's go back and see what happened here. So, does Shane give George room? It looks like Shane is giving him just enough room. Ooh, they might have made contact, but there's room there. Yeah, I think Shane, if there was contact, it was just ever so slight. And Shane gets a snap of oversteer, as does George. George is going to lose out to Paolo. Ooh, so the drama continues for those last podium spots. Jack Liston has pulled a bit of a gap on this amazing 4-way battle for the last step of the podium, and we're not even halfway through the race, and we've already seen so much drama. I don't think the rain is going to let up. And now we are watching Paolo, who has been quietly sitting in the back watching all this drama, enter the conversation. And Paolo is all over the rear end of George's. Oh, George goes wide. Oh, Paolo goes wide. Oh, no, Paolo loses it. Oh, Paolo, keep it together. Nope. Okay, so Paolo, gets a little bit of a sympathy. Oh, yeah, big old sympathy snap right there. Follows George wide. George is able to keep going. Powell gets a big snap, hits the wall. But again, the damage is turned off. So you can see right there, the front of his car resets. So he's going to get penalty points, but he doesn't have to go to pit lane to get damage. So obviously, that's not great that he's now all the way back down in P9 when he was fighting for the last step on the podium. But his race isn't completely undone. He just has the penalty points, and he lost maybe 10, 15 seconds to try to get back around and get going again. So all is not lost for that race. We're watching a great battle right now between Spencer and Mike. This has been going on for a couple of laps. And Mike's going to make his way around the inside of Spencer in the Taco Bell livery. And Mike, big snap oversteer. Keep it going. Oh, that's going to hand the position back to Spencer. And he's going to lose, I believe, another spot to Logan right there. Oh, good battle. But, when you're on these compromised lines, if you don't practice them, and not a lot of people practice driving off the racing line, particularly in the rain, so it's so easy to get caught out like Mike did and just get that little snap oversteer, and it's so hard to catch in the rain. These rain tires do a great job of displacing water, but you're still never going to get the grip levels that you're going to get in ideal conditions when the track is dry and you're on racing slicks. And, some of these cars, they'll spin on a dime. It just takes a little bit. You just have to overstep the limit of adhesion by just a little bit, and you pay dearly for it, and that's what we just saw from Mike. But back up front, John Wilson, fastest lap of the race with a 2:22.4. He's got the rest of the field smoked by 0.2 on pace, and he is 8.8 seconds in front of the entire field. John Wilson is exemplifying why he is so good in the Riot Motorsport Sim Racing League. He's shown up. I think if he pulls out this win, I believe this will be his third win. And his last win, he started at the back of the field and came through passing everybody to win. And John is on the limit. He's not taking it easy. He's got a 9.2 second lead, and he's got that lead because he's putting in quali laps right now. This is really fun to see. He's not sitting back. He's not managing a gap. He is out there having fun in the rain. He is driving hard, and he's being rewarded for his efforts. Now, we're just over the halfway point in the race, and everybody does have to make a pit stop. So, when that happens, we might see the order shuffle around. You have to decide when you're going to make a pit stop. John's not going to take a pit stop this lap. He is going to continue to stretch out his lead to almost 10 seconds. Now, and when you're putting that much distance between yourself and talented drivers like Jack Liston and Andrew Malin, it is absolutely a statement. And that statement is, I'm here and I am very, very quick. Watching Andrew Malin right now, he is in P2. We have our first drivers making their pit stops. Jack Liston is going to come into the pits just about at the halfway point. Normally, tire degradation is a major factor in these races, and you have to time when you make your pit stops. You make sure that you have good rubber at the end of the race. Sometimes the undercut works very well. Sometimes going long is the most effective strategy. In the rain, I think it's more about managing the gaps, because tire degradation is not as big of a factor. When you talk to the drivers, they will say that sometimes it's hard to get temperature in these tires, and the track temperature is 70 degrees. It's not warm out there. So, these tires aren't getting burnt up the way that they would in ideal conditions. Paolo was all the way back in P9 after having a little bit of an incident, is already back up to P7. And Jack Liston comes out of the pits in between Paolo and Logan. So Jack, one of the first to make a pit stop. Shane Wilcox also diving into the pits. Spencer diving into the pits. Mike diving into the pits. So that cycle of pit stops is happening, and we will see if the undercut is effective. Now, Jack coming out of the track into clean air behind Paolo, I think plays to his favor. Paolo is wicked fast, so he's not going to get caught up in a log jam. Paolo has clean air as well, so it's not like he's battling Kelly in front of him. I think honestly, Jack came out in a pretty good spot, as did Spencer. People have clean air in front of them. The worst thing you can do when you make a pit stop is to come out into a lot of traffic, because then you're not putting in quick laps. You have to make it all the way through. You have to battle your way back up the field, and it's a lot easier to come out into some clean air in mid-pack like Jack did and just wait for the people in front of you to make their pit stops. Oh, Logan's off track. Logan goes off track in turn 8 right before the carousel. That's going to let Shane through. Shane is going to climb his way up to P9, which that's actually very, very good considering that he's already made his pit stop. And John Wilson dives into the pits with 18 minutes and 45 seconds left in the race. He had amassed a 10-second gap. And we will see, I think let's see, I don't know what the pit stop delta is. We'll see where he comes out. Andrew Malin is going to dive in behind him, as is George. So the leaders are all diving into the pits. And when it all cycles out, where is Paolo going to be? Where is Jack Liston going to be? Everybody's coming into the pits. Paolo hasn't made a pit stop yet. Paolo's still out on track, I believe. Nope. Nope, Paolo's in the pits. Paolo's in the pits as well. So everybody is making their pit stops. The time is now. Who is going to benefit from it? Where are they going to come out when they come out on track? Jack Liston kind of started that chain of events, and that's him coming down the start-finish straight right now. So we're going to see that blend. We're going to see where this all plays out. Jack is going to start climbing up the order. He's going to come out, just right next to Andrew Malin. Jack is up to pace. Andrew is not, so Jack is going to find his way around Andrew Malin into P2. And with everyone cycling through, this is actually where they, this is now the true running order. So John Wilson, it looks like he lost about 4 or 5 seconds by staying out a little bit longer. The gap is only 5.8 seconds back to Jack Liston. Andrew Malin is in P3. George is in P4. Shane in P5. Logan in P6. Logan has yet to pit. So Miller is going to assume P6 when Logan does decide to pull in. There's Carter in P8. Carter's got a great livery. I love the Dad Racing, by the way. They have an awesome YouTube channel. Absolutely check it out. Carter, Miller's a part of it. Let's see who else. Andrew Malin is a part of it. Just really good stuff. It's about their journey in motorsports, and they're all good guys. They're all talented drivers, not just in Sim Racing League, but in real life. So really cool livery, that camo Dad Racing livery. Check out their YouTube channel. And Carter's had a clean race, which is nice. He's had a quiet race. He's someone who can absolutely scream. I don't know what it is, but every once in a while, Carter just flips a switch and is the fastest driver on track. Kind of reminds me almost of, hate to say it, but like a Jensen Button. Someone who always has the ability to be the fastest in the field, but it only shows up sometimes. So we'll see if Carter flips that switch and decides to just become an animal. But he's got he's got Paolo behind him. Oh, George is off track. What happened to George? George get some help? Nope, looks like he lost it under his own volition coming around the carousel. Ooh, yeah, a little early on the throttle. Got a big snap oversteer. Couldn't save it. Hard into the wall. And watch, we'll see right now. Bink. Yep. The whole front end goes back on. That is the no damage rule that we have, which allows George to continue to fight for positions. He doesn't have to, go a lap down waiting for damages to be repaired. We don't have access to see what penalty points people have. But also, when you start getting down into that last third of the race, which we are right now. Ooh, what are we seeing right now? Oh, wow. Let's go to this. I'll get back to that thought later. Right now, we have Carter, George, and Paolo in a three-way battle for P7. This is great stuff. Look at Paolo. Oh, come on. Oh, keep it together. Oh, Paolo gave George a little bit of help. Oh, that was a little bit naughty by Paolo. Let's go back and see what happened. That might warrant a discussion at the end of this race. You see George. He's going to get into... Paolo's going to get into George. George turns 90 degrees. Paolo continues. So, as I said earlier, one of the things that makes this racing league so special is how good the drivers are, but how respectful they are. And they get the penalty points in race. You get a 4x. You get 4 penalty points for making contact. You usually get 1 or 2 points for going off track. You get 17 total. You have to come through and make a drive-through penalty. But after the race, they all sit on Discord and they all discuss the incidents. And it's very reasonable and diplomatic, and it works very well, where they'll go back and forth and say, this does warrant a 10-point penalty. This was fairly clean. And So there have been a few incidents in this race that I'm sure are going to be discussed, and I would imagine there's going to be a fair amount of discord on Discord after this race to see if any penalty points are awarded. George is down at P9. Woo! Keep it together, George. A little bit oversteer, under braking, keeps it together, gets a good exit out of turn 3, heads down under the Cheese Bridge that we'll see right here. It's actually called the Sorrento Bridge, but Cheese Bridge sounds cooler, and that is the most Wisconsin name for any structure that's ever been made ever, in my opinion. This racetrack is at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It was built in the 1950s, kind of just after World War II. The United States was very prosperous. It's the whole, where the baby boomers came from, and motorsports saw a huge uptick in the United States during that time period, and that's when you see a lot of the racetracks were built. A lot of the classic racetracks like this one. And IMSA's run here, NASCAR's run here. Who was that? Andrew Malin's run here off track from time to time, which we just saw there going through Kettle Bottoms. He's able to keep it going. So this track has, some of the richest history in motorsports in the United States, and it's still run by IndyCar and running the IndyCar series. And it used to run in NASCAR just until a couple of years ago. And it's just so great to have these tracks be celebrated and have them be in iRacing. iRacing is the probably largest racing simulator in the world. And, they go to unbelievably meticulous lengths to create these tracks. They're laser scanned. The tire models are, incredibly accurate. They work very hard on that to give the drivers the most realistic experience possible. And when you talk to the drivers that have raced in real life at these racetracks, they say it's obviously never going to be the exact same sensation, and the cars are always a little bit different than they are in real life, but it's very close, and that allows these drivers with real life racing experience to hop into a sim and be competitive. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, and the people that are really fast in the sim a lot of times will kind of do little tricks that you would never be able to do in real life that give you a little advantage. One of the things that you can do in iRacing is you can control the volume of the engine noise. And if you turn that all the way down and you turn the tire noise, the volume of the tire noise all the way up, you get a little bit of extra feedback as to what the car is doing in the sim. In real life, you just feel it. You feel minute changes in understeer, in oversteer, in braking, when you're at the threshold, when you're just over it, when you're still a little bit under it. You don't get those sensations, obviously, in sim racing. So it's about creating the most amount of feedback possible. And a lot of the sim racers will turn the engine noise down so they can hear the tire noise a little bit more clearly. It takes away from the realism of it, but again, if you're out here and you want to go fast, you do what you can. Right now we're watching Kelly Hatcher. Kelly is in the Gulf livery that we've seen on a number of different cars, the GT40 that won at Le Mans, Williams Racing in Formula One, McLaren as well in Formula One. So really cool livery. I love a good throwback livery. Kelly is quietly in P8, which is great. He is in, I think he's in the third. Yeah, he's currently in P3 in the R2 class. So he has a foot on the podium with 11 minutes and 11 seconds left in the 5th race of the 7th season of the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League. This has been an absolute barn burner if you're just tuning into the race. We have seen drivers off track. We have seen side-by-side racing. We have seen any number of exciting moments. But oh no, and Paolo has an exciting moment right there. He is going to go wide. Where is that? That's exiting the carousel. Hooks his rear tire on the dirt. That kicks him hard across the track into the wall. Damage resets, and he is able to continue, but it's showing him now in P13. That's really strange because the damage is turned off, and he's in pit lane. Is he getting another set of tires? I don't know why he's making another pit stop. Well, let's keep an eye on that. Paolo was having a great race, so obviously he had a reason to go into pit lane. You don't need to if you have an incident because the damage is turned off, so he obviously pulled in for another reason. Logan Whatcott in P12. He's had a good race as well. Michael Shumway in P11. He's been fairly absent the entire race. I'm just remembering that he started the formation lap on slicks, and that was a bad choice. He was the only driver to do that. So he, after the formation lap, came into pit lane, made an extra pit stop to start the race, started all the way in the back of the field, and has not really been able to make massive inroads, but he is currently sitting in P11, so he will get some points for this race. 70 points is awarded to the winner of this race, and then it decreases by 5-point increments all the way down to whatever the math works out to be. So, looks like Michael will come away with some points. As I was saying before, Michael's such a consistent driver. He's had a tough season this year, missed a couple races, had technical issues, started on slicks when he should have started on wet. So, it's funny because just on pace and driver ability, Michael is very consistent. He's always in podium contention, but we haven't seen it this year, for extenuating circumstances. So, we're already halfway through the season. Michael could absolutely be a front runner for the R1 championship, but is currently sitting, I think, down in P5 with Jack Liston winning. And wow, is that? Oh no, that was John getting around George as a back marker. So John still has 5.6 seconds on Jack Liston. John has the fastest lap of the race by 0.2 over Jack Liston. Jack Liston is one of the more dominant drivers in the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League, and John Wilson has asserted himself into that conversation. And you'll see on screen next to everyone's name, there's the R1, R2, R3. He's an R2 driver just because he's new to the league, but he is R1 on pace all day, and he will not be an R2 driver for long. He'll close out this season, and he's going to be in contention for an R1 championship next year. But George, look at George making a move on Kelly. Ooh, he's going to get it done, going through the kink, heading down Kettle Bottoms. Yeah, you can definitely go too wide here, which they are doing. They're giving each other space. Love seeing that. Two great liveries, two great drivers, having a great battle, going through Canada Corner. Very tricky in the rain, and both get good drive out of the corner. Good exits for both of them. Going through turn 13 and turn, I guess, technically 13A, because turn 14 is the left-hander that they're on right now, going onto the main straight. And George is in front of Kelly Hatcher in the closing stages of the race. Everyone has made their compulsory pit stops. There's 7 minutes and 30 seconds left, so now is the time where people need to start making moves. If they were conserving tires, if they were conserving fuel, if they were just trying to play it cool, now's the time to not do any of that. Now is the time to start making the moves, because there are only going to be a few laps left, and Kelly is going to answer back on George and take the P7 back from George in the little bit understeer. He's going to run wide. Oh, no. Oh, Kelly, keep it together, bud. Oh, Kelly makes a mistake. It's a snap of understeer in the braking zone and concedes P7 back to George. And George has, decent amount of work to do to catch Carter in front of him. Right now we're watching Andrew Malin. Andrew Malin's had a great race. He had a great 5-way battle for the whole middle part of this race. And now he's in P3, and he's right behind. He's 0.8 of a second behind Jack Liston. He's all the way in a slipstream. You can see the visibility is not getting any better. The rain is still falling at Road America, and it will continue to fall for the remaining 6 minutes and 19 seconds that we have in this race. And Andrew is trying everything possible going down Canada Corner to try to get up to Jack Liston and potentially get in front of him. There's only 6 minutes left in the race. There are only a few laps left. They're doing about 2-minute and 22, 2-minute and 23-second laps. So with 5 minutes and 56 seconds left, we're probably only going to get 3 more laps of racing in. So now is the time, Andrew. Now's the time to try to get something done on Jack. John is sitting pretty with a 6-second lead, so John just has to be consistent. He can even slow down a little bit and start bleeding out a little bit of time and still be in great shape. But Jack Liston absolutely does not have that luxury. He's got an incredibly quick driver in Andrew Malin behind him, doing whatever he can to try to take one more step up the podium. This is for P2. Is Jack going to be able to defend against Andrew Malin for the next couple of laps? We will have to see. There is a battle that is brewing. This is going to be awesome stuff. And as I'm looking at the leaderboard. Paolo was in the pits. Paolo has dropped out of the race altogether. That is very unfortunate. He was having a great race, as has Alex. So there are 12 drivers left on track, and there's only one person that's going to be on that top step, and that, if it ends right now, is going to be John Wilson. But those last two steps on the podium have yet to be decided. John Wilson has really, really shown how good of a driver is, how talented he is in this race. He had a great first race and only came undone by a tire choice that went wrong. And in this race, he has been dominant. Not without its moments, but he is enjoying a 7-second lead over the rest of the field, including Jack Liston, who, again, is one of the quickest drivers in the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League. And Andrew Malin is always in the conversation as well. You know, I love nothing more than watching a Michael Shumway, Andrew Malin melee, which we've seen in every single race so far this season. Michael Shumway had to pit early, has not been able to make up ground, so we're not going to get treated to the, Michael Malin mayhem that we're used to, but maybe we'll get some Jack Liston and Andrew Malin gloves off Donnybrook's here in the closing stages of the 5th race of the 7th season of the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League at Road America in the rain. This has been an awesome, awesome race. This has been an awesome day of racing altogether. I woke up this morning and I watched the Monaco Grand Prix, and congratulations. It's a spoiler, earmuffs if you don't want to hear it. Congratulations to Charles Leclerc winning in his home country of Monte Carlo. Then I got to watch the Indy 500. It started late, but another absolute barn burner. Earmuffs again. Congratulations to Joseph Newgarden for winning back-to-back Indy 500s. And then I get treated to watching exciting sim racing with great drivers. Andrew Malin is all over the back. He's a half a second behind Jack Liston. Might be having a few connectivity issues, but he's still on the pace. There's just a couple of laps left, and are we going to see a battle for P2 of this race? John Wilson has absolutely checked out, so he would have to make a significant mistake to give up this win. But Jack Liston still has his hands full. He has a lot of work to do. He's going to have to start doing a lot of defending. I'm going to guess we're going to get 2 more laps of racing. There's 2 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock, so the white flag is imminent. This may be one of Andrew Malin's last few chances to try to get around the very talented, the very quick Jack Liston. This has been a great race. There's been battles all the way up and down the field, and we're seeing now there's still a lot to be decided. Jack Liston is fast. He is clinical. He's consistent. He makes very few mistakes on the races. Is he going to make a mistake here that's going to allow Andrew Malin to take advantage of that and claim P2, or is Andrew going to have to force the issue? Oh, this has been such good stuff. I'm so lucky to be able to bear witness to this racing on a weekly basis. And, every single race delivers in the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League. They pick great tracks. The drivers are all very talented. They're all very respectful. And I was talking about earlier in the broadcast that we may start seeing a few more faces from the karting world in this racing, which I'm very, very excited about. I myself am from the karting world, and we do see people from that environment racing from time to time. Ayrton Littell is a GFC factory racing driver, as well as the owner of Scuderia Littell. We see Lincoln Larson. We see Bruno Carniero, who's an exceedingly talented racing driver who started in karting as well. We see them in the Riot Sim Racing League from time to time. But what we see week after week is Jack Liston and Andrew Malin being quick. And we're seeing it right now. If we have not gotten the white flag, I don't believe we have. So I think there are going to be 2 more laps of racing. I believe they are going to see the white flag the next time by. So 2 laps left to go in this race in the rain. We have had no shortage of wonderfully extraordinary moments on this race. And in the closing stages, Andrew Malin finds himself just a third of a second, a blink of an eye behind Jack Liston, and Carter and Miller as well are nose to tail. The only two Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evos on track have found each other in the closing stages of the race. And Carter is hassling Miller, doing anything he can as they come through turn 3, down towards the cheese bridge, down towards the next hard braking zone, which is a good passing opportunity. Oh, good battles up and down the field. Andrew is getting close to Jack, but he's not able to get close enough to make a move. So the time is winding down. There is no time left on the clock. Oh, Carter. Oh, who's going to be able to make a move? Spencer's in pit lane. Not sure why Spencer is entering the pits. That is going to put him potentially all the way back down in P12. I don't know why he entered the pits. That's weird. Everyone already made their pit stop. Uh-oh. Michael Shumway. Fuel alarm going off. He's in P11. Oh, I wonder if that's why Spencer might have pitted. You know, you don't get unlimited amounts of fuel. And we see the white flag. Hey, is that white or checkered? Yeah, that's a white flag. Okay, white flag has flown. One lap of racing left for anyone to get something done. Michael Shumway just barely with enough fuel. Hopefully he can get all the way around. He's in P10, but we are watching right now the battle for the last two steps on the podium between Jack Liston and Andrew Malin. Jack Liston has been in control. Jack Liston has been consistent, but Jack Liston is 7 seconds behind the winner, who is about to cross the start-finish line and take the checkered flag. John Wilson wins race number 5 of season 7 at the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League. Well done, John Wilson. And Jack Liston comes across in P2. Andrew Malin rounds out the podium. What a good race. Andrew Malin couldn't quite get close enough to put a move on him, and Miller has created a little bit of separation between him and Carter. So Shane, great result for him, finishing in P4, followed by Miller in P5, and Carter just couldn't get it done at the end. Couldn't get close enough to make a move. He's going to finish in 6th. And further down the field, there's George. I was at a very dramatic race. You know, he's been up battling for podiums. He's been back towards the back. He's been off track. And he is going to come home in 7th place, barring an issue in the last corner here. Nope, makes around that cleanly. Around that corner cleanly. So that's a good haul of points for him. Kelly in 8th. And now we're on board. Oh, who's this right now? That's Michael getting around Spencer, but it's still showing Spencer ahead of Michael on the leaderboard. Spencer's, oh, this is a good battle, actually. This is really exciting. Coming through Kettle Bottoms, hard braking into Canada corner. This is an easy corner to get wrong, but all the drivers, for the most part, have done it very, very well this race. Michael gets good exit speed. And now we have Mike Cowley. Mike Cowley crosses the line in P9. And now we're on to Spencer and Michael battling it out to the very end. One more corner for Michael to try to get a good exit, which he does. Goes wide. Oh, boy. Oh, well done. Well done to keep that on track, but that means he's not going to be able to try to make a run and a pass on Spencer. That brings Spencer home in P10. P11 is Michael. P12 is going to be the last driver on track. That is Logan Whatcott. Logan in the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing, the Riot Motorsport livery in the Porsche 992 911 GT3. And that is going to round out the field. Another exceedingly thrilling race. As always, these races deliver. This race at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin was no exception to that rule. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week, where the Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League is going to head to I'm sorry, hold on a second. Where are we going next week? Oh, we're going to Sonoma next week. I thought we were going to Daytona. Michael just told me through my headphones that we are going to Sonoma, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be very exciting, I'm sure, per usual. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and make sure you tune in next week.
Welcome to Riot Motorsports Sim Racing League. We are located at the Utah Motorsport campus, offering a full range of services for race car enthusiasts, including storage, maintenance, and driver coaching. Our focus is on fostering an inclusive and supportive racing community. Sim racing is a great way for our drivers to continue to practice during the on and off season. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the race.